So this time around I opted to raise the seedlings on the nursery bed instead of the seeding trays as I usually do. I didn't manage to get some good planting media, and I didn't have some ready compost on the farm during the time that I wanted to have these seedlings, sowed. So I opted to do this on the nursery bed, and I can see they did well, and now they are ready for transplant. The seedlings take about 4 weeks or so from sowing for them to be ready for transplant. You need to check that they have at least 4 to 6 true leaves, and that they are sturdy enough. That will be able to shows that the seedlings are ready for transplant. So ensure before you do the transplant, if you've done it on a nursery bed like this, that you properly water the beds prior to the transplant, so that when you pull out the seedlings, you don't damage the roots. Let's now move to prepare the planting holes where we'll be on the beds where we'll be transplanting these cabbages too. So we'll be moving this to an already prepared beds that have already been prepared. That's where now we'll be transplanting these cabbages too. So let's move on. So here we are, almost 2 weeks after the transplant. The cabbages seems to, they are doing well. They're accustomed to the new environment. There is no transplant shock, and you see they're picking up nicely. So one activity that you need to do after the transplant, of course, is to ensure that you maintain, moisture, that the beds are moist enough, but not soggy. So the only challenge that I faced here on my part is just this small section here. It's just this small section here that because I'm using the drip irrigation system. Because currently now we are in the dry period, so I've been doing the watering using the drip system. And for my water source, my water source is mainly from a natural spring. I have 2 water sources. One is a natural spring and a river. So of course from the water from the river has silt. Although I have a filtration process, because some of those small particles make their way through, and with time is build up on the drip. So it's actually, you need to be very careful if you're using the drip irrigation system. Just ensure that you check on your emitters and ensure that all your emitters are emitting the water, that you don't have sections where the water is not flowing properly. So here, of course, there's this section that was not getting enough water. So what I'll be doing gapping. What gapping means is actually, once you transplant your crop, at times there's loss, maybe probably from pests. So like cabbages, at times you may transplant, they are attacked by pests like cutworms. They cut off the stems. or drying off, for example, like in my case where now due to water not getting enough moisture, so the seedlings dried off. So what gapping means is you replace, you replace the missing seedling where the seedlings did not grow. You do the replacement. So I'll be doing the gapping on this section whereby it's dried. So now, what are some of the aftercare that you need to do? One thing we need to note is that cabbages are quite heavy feeders. So during the bed preparation, when you're preparing a bed, the initial bed preparation, we incorporated some compost, or you can also incorporate compost or well-dried manure, into the soil. Then after the transplant, as you're saying that cabbages are quite heavy feeders, so we need the initial fertilization, either organic or inorganic. The initial fertilization, you can do fertilizer rich in phosphorus, so that for the to enhance the root formation. Then probably after 3 to 4 weeks or so, we do a second top dress, that is with a fertilizer rich in nitrogen, to encourage the vegetative growth. Then 3 to 4 weeks after that, or as soon as just before the head formation, we do fertilizer rich in potassium. Now with this in potassium, what this will do is will help in the head formation. So you can have farm heads, large and farm heads. Where I've noted some farmers going wrong is on the third top dress. During the head formation, they top dress using a fertilizer rich in nitrogen. So too much nitrogen, of course, that makes now the head formation affects the head formation. You will find that some cabbages don't form the head properly, or the head is formed, but it's not firm enough. So you see, you get a large cabbage, but it doesn't have the weight. So the other thing you need to be on the lookout is on pests and diseases. So here, the main pests that affect cabbages are, after the transplant, you said you can have the cutworms. The other thing you need to be on the lookout for mainly is aphids, and the caterpillars, like the diamond black moth. So those are the main pests that affect the cabbages. But these are easy to control, from organic control, like using neem oil, detergent. Pests like aphids are very easy to control. So you need to be on the lookout to ensure that they don't affect your crop, because once they can cause quite a damage, because once they affect your cabbages, they'll affect the formation of the head, and they actually can result to losing your crop. So you need to be on the lookout for that. I think you need to be on the lookout is for the diseases. So the main disease that affect cabbages I've noted is the bacterial diseases, like the black rot. So we need to be on the lookout for that. The initial step, of course, is some of these diseases have no cure. So the initial thing you need to do is prevention. And to start with, the main you see from the variety you choose to plant, that you ensure that you choose a variety that is resistant to the diseases. And the aftercare, like the feeding, because you ensure that you feed your crops properly, the well-balanced nutrition. You top up probably the nutrients like calcium. They help to strengthen the cell wall of the cabbages. This helps in making the crop stronger to be able to withstand some of these diseases. Adding up copper solution, copper-based fertilizers to suppress the disease in case it occurs. But the key thing is with this fungal disease, these bacterial diseases, you just work on ensuring that you prevent these diseases from occurring. Because once they do occur, it's quite a tall order to reverse or stop this disease. So you need to be on the lookout for any of these pests and diseases, control them in good time, and definitely be assured of a healthy crop. So that's it. That's the progress so far. The crop is doing well. It's about 2 weeks. So we'll be following up on this on the 3rd or 4th week or so, when we'll be doing now the second top dress, which will be now a fertilizer rich in nitrogen, and we'll see how the crop grows, the progress of the crop as that then. So thank you so much for watching. Till the next one, happy farming.